Good evening. I'd like to call the January 28th, 2025 Pittsburgh City Commission to order. Please join us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to Pittsburgh Positive, I'd like to share with my colleagues tonight. Last Tuesday, the city had a visit from a small delegation representing the Marshall Islands. It was the consulate, the Marshall Islands Consulate, and included the interim consul general for the Republic of the Marshall Islands and staff from their embassy in Washington, D.C., and local citizens from the Marshall Islands. And the purpose really was just they came down to meet with their community, and they were meeting with the city just to introduce themselves, open lines of communication. It was a really gratifying meeting, and they gifted the city with this beautiful, weaving, and it's made from shells and pandanus leaves where the native women pound them, and coconut fibers. And, you know, I'll let you look at it because it's very intricate. It's hard to see from here. But they reported there's probably about 1,000 citizens in Crawford County that are either directly or per family from the Marshall Islands. And it was just a really nice visit, so we appreciate them wanting to meet with us. All right, I would open public input and invite Pastor Pete to set us right.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to begin with a little invocation. How's that sound? Let us pray. Blessed are you, our Creator, our Father. Please bless our community meeting this evening. May we have peaceful and productive communication. Assist us to see from new perspectives and to extend kindness. We thank you for all the good citizens and public workers who make our city the great place that it is. Help us to identify and build upon the common interests that unify us as a community. Watch over Pittsburgh with special care and protection. And we ask this in the name of all that each of us holds sacred and holy. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Cheryl is on the phone. Just thank you. Yes.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for public input? Well, seeing none, we'll close public input and move into the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Stu, seconded by Chuck. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Sigley?
Yes.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Roll call.
Commissioner
Did you hear
Sigley?
me?
yes, thank you, Cheryl.
Okay.
Commissioner Sigley? Roll call vote. Yea or nay on the, yeah.
I said yes.
I know, but I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Commissioner Brooks?
She said yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Munsell?
Yes.
Commissioner Height?
Yes.
Mayor McNay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good job, Dan.
Yeah. Motion carries.
So terrible at that.
Considering the following, I believe under A, that agenda item is tabled for this evening. Is that, do you have anything?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Moving into B, Wildcat Data Infrastructure 1, or I, LLC project. Consider the recommendation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee to provide an incentive package for the construction of the Wildcat Data Infrastructure LLC project at the Airport Industrial Park to include bifocals. The city selling 15 acres of property to Wildcat Data Infrastructure LLC at $2,500 per acre with the right of first refusal for the city to repurchase the property if construction has not commenced in 5 years. 2, the city rebating 50% of the electricity franchise fee for the first 5 years. And 3, the city splitting the cost of extending water and wastewater service to the site with Wildcat Data Infrastructure LLC, with the city's share not to exceed $75,000.
That's a mouthful. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the commission. This is a project that we have been working on for over a year now. As a matter of fact, it was almost a year ago that we came to you with a request to set aside 15 acres in the city's airport industrial park just north of Apex Stages, because we were working with a company that was interested in a development in that area. And so we came back to you back in September and asked for another 6 months on that, and have been looking forward to the opportunity to be able to share a little bit more about it, because this project is unique to Pittsburgh. I think we've all heard about data centers before, but this has been an opportunity for us to really become more knowledgeable on the role that data centers play in our economy. And obviously, this particular one could be a significant generator of revenue for the city, which is always a good thing. So we are being joined virtually tonight by Renee Ramirez and Justin Hartman. They are representing the company that is interested in locating the data centers project in the airport industrial park. They visited with the Economic Development Advisory Committee a couple of weeks ago about this project. And after I asked Renee and Justin to share not only a little bit about this particular project, but also, again, what exactly data centers are and the role that they play, then I'll come back and go over the incentive package that you just mentioned right there. So Renee and Justin, I'm not sure which one of you guys is up first, but I will kind of drive the PowerPoint here and help you shift from slide to slide. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Sounds great. I think I'll start, and then I'll let Justin wow you all with his much better, use of the word of English. But I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us today. We're really excited about the project. Like Blake said, we have been working this for over a year, working with Evergy to kind of get the power capacity and then kind of aligning exactly how it'll fit into the airport area. So it's been a really exciting project. It's taken a while, but like I said, we're finally there, and we like what we're seeing in terms of phase 1 and phase 2 development, and kind of see how we can work with the city and bring in some revenues at the same time, allow us to expand and kind of build out the infrastructure. So I think we just go to the next slide about data centers. I mean, everyone hears about them. The growth is amazing. If you start thinking about AI, for example, if you do a Google search, it is 1/10 of the power required compared to an AI search. So if you go on ChatGPT, you're using 10x more power than you are at Google. It's obviously a lot more effective. So that means that the amount of power we need, especially now and going forward, is just huge for the country. And it's something that we work with, me and Justin, in the infrastructure aspect of it, to kind of build out these facilities and allow, the U.S. to take a leading role in the AI space.
You ready for the next slide?
I'm going to dart around so a little bit more conversational rather than reading off a slide, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
So big aspects of it is really going to be, how much power do we need and how much power can we have? This Evergy has 10 megawatts available right now. So we've been working with Evergy to kind of commit to pay for their cost of moving that 10 megawatts from their substation all the way to the airport facility. So as long as we're operating there for a minimum of 2 years, we can help cover that cost, and that kind of makes everyone happy. So then that way the city is on the hook, and us as a data center, we're as the infrastructure company are on the hook on that. We expect to start at 10 megawatts and go to 50 megawatts pretty quickly. It's going to take what we imagine 2 years, especially talking to Evergy. We will build that substation out for them is what we're anticipating right now. So we're trying to be in a situation where it's not cumbersome for the city or the utility, and we take the financial risk to kind of build out this infrastructure, which is good for the long term for the airport and anything surrounding. Any questions so far? I don't want to jump around too quickly, or I want to make sure you guys have any time to ask any questions you may have.
Don't see any at this moment.
Good. A lot of details about data centers. Obviously, the scaling and growth is really important right now. Everybody wants to grow. 10 megawatts is extremely small, that's why we're immediately going to 50. So we gotta start designing the facility for that. Obviously, that brings in jobs and revenue for the city, which if I'm on your all's seat, that's kind of a big aspect of the conversation. That being said, if we do 10 megawatts, we're expected to hire 5 to 6 employees from the city, which would be above county average wages, and roughly be $500,000 a year in revenue for government, 26,000 for the state, 10,000 a month for the city in sales tax alone. So over 5 years, the payments would be $2.8 million is what we're anticipating right now. Once we scale up to the 50 megawatts, now we're looking at $14 million in 5 years for government payments and, sales tax revenues for the state and city. And franchise tax, you can see franchise tax would be $50,000 a month. So it's really good for, obviously, the numbers make sense for us. I hope that the numbers help for you all in the city. And, we're really excited about moving forward and starting in phase 1 quickly and then quickly going to phase 2 to build that project out.
Yeah, I think, based on our timeline and the method of construction, we would look to be operational sometime towards April to May timeframe. Really by May 1st is the goal, and we could be operational, probably late part of March through April if we get, good fair weather for the construction on extending power to the site. And the important thing about that is just that, we almost immediately start generating revenue, against the site, and, the city, local government, and state government are starting to participate, with the project financially at that point.
Yes, we'll be fully energized by the end of May is what we're expecting.
May of this year? Yep, okay.
And I believe Renee said it, I want to make sure that he did mention that Evergy actually has already begun the process of moving their infrastructure out to the airport, that west side of the airport industrial park, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They've already got all the equipment, and if they hadn't started punching holes in the ground, imagine they're about to. So, they want to move quickly, we want to move quickly. And like I said, at that point, they'll have, that airport location will have 10 megawatts capacity.
What's the time frame estimate between phase 1 and phase 2, or if you know?
We're being realistic, it's probably 18 to 24 months.
Relatively quick.
We need to expand the substation. And like I said, we're anticipating putting that in that'd be in our cost.
Well, is your building that you're putting up, is that gonna be accommodating phase 1 and phase 2, or are you gonna have to do more construction for phase 2?
Yeah, we're gonna need more construction in phase 2. Phase 1, we wanna just do a modular build out so we get the phase 2 set up.
It is the timeline of the energization date and everything else, being modular and quick to commission the site. It allows us to go that quickly without traditional construction. Phase 2 would support, a larger permanent structure, and, so that's right now, that's the plan, and that's why we're gonna lay the site out the way that we are. It allows us to do that construction while we're still operational, generating revenue, proving the concept out, and be able to run those processes in parallel.
So we talked about how Evergy, but what is, from the city standpoint, extending water and wastewater, what's that gonna entail?
Well, I won't speak for Matt, especially since he's coming up here. I think there's more work to do on the wastewater side, but even that is not significant.
It's not significant. It's nothing. It's just a restroom facility, really is all they're putting in, so it's minimal service, no big deal.
So this I may be totally off base, but do data centers, don't they require a lot of water?
No, not all of them. Depends on the timing. There's different technologies. So we don't expect to use a lot of water in this first phase.
And another, I think another advantage of this project, commissioners, is the fact that this also now helps us build out the rest of the airport industrial park to be able to pull this kind of power to the west side of the airport industrial park, because the city has approximately anywhere from 60 to 70 acres north of this site. Not all of that is developable because of the drainage, but certainly having this power in place, if we were to have another project that was interested in locating, we would already have that power adjacent to it.
And the 75,000 up to is RLF funds.
Correct. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that's us cost sharing that with the prospect here.
Up to 75,000 on the city's.
On the city side, yes, sir. So overall, Madam Mayor, as you mentioned, the incentive package recommended by the EDAC was to sell the company 15 acres in the airport industrial park at $2,500 per acre. That's a 50% reduction in what that would sell for on the market. That's similar to what we did with Apex when we sold them that property just to the south. For the first 5 years, the city will rebate back 50% of that electricity franchise fee, which will still generate about $10,000, based on 10 megawatts. That would generate approximately $10,000 a month for the city, and the other 10 would be rebated back to the prospect. Then the city will, as you mentioned, split the cost of extending the water and the wastewater service to the site, with the city's share not to exceed $75,000. And you'll notice in the purchase agreement that was drafted by Henry and his team, if for some reason construction hasn't commenced within the first 5 years, the city would have a right of first refusal to repurchase the property back from the company at the same price that we sold it to them. So that protection is in there for the city.
Were there any questions we haven't thought of asked by the EDAC members?
I don't recall. I don't believe so. Do you remember, Renee or Justin? I mean, I think the EDAC members enjoyed discussing it because it is something unique that is hasn't been done in our community before, but nothing that really stands out.
Any other questions for Blake or the Wildcat team?
I'd move to approve.
Second?
Moved by Stu, seconded by Doc. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Right.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you.
Yeah, you as well.
All right, moving on to item C, Polaris Ranger Utility Terrain Vehicle, UTV purchase. Consider the police department staff request to purchase one Polaris Ranger North Star Crew Ultimate Utility Terrain Vehicle from J. Hatfield Motorsports of Frontenac, Kansas, in the amount of $36,136.97, with $30,000 funded through a private donation and the remaining $6,136.97 funded from the police department's drug seizure account.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Tonight I have Lieutenant Chris Moore with me to answer any technical questions we may have at the conclusion of the few-minute presentation here. We are seeking, as the Mayor indicated, seeking approval for the purchase of a UTV, utility task vehicle for the use by the police department. In the past number of months, our officers have responded to a number of calls for service into some of our more remote areas of the Pittsburgh community. One such incident was this past October at the 23rd Street bike park or bike trails. We had a report of a female that was assaulted, had some injuries, required some medical attention. We had some challenges getting back there. And actually determining exactly where she was with the assistance of one of our drone pilots and one of our drones, along with some officers that were on foot. We were able to locate her and quickly determined that she needed to be transported out of there. She wasn't able to leave on foot, so the city or we didn't have a particular vehicle to get her back to a staging area where EMS was located. So we requested mutual aid from the Frontenac Fire Department. They brought their UTV and safely brought her to the staging area, and she was taken to the hospital. Immediately after, actually that same day, we started conversations, Lieutenant Moore and Deputy Chief Henderson, we had started conversations on how could we better respond, how can we better serve the community, what piece of equipment do we really need to respond to calls such as this. Through some research discussions, a UTV was the solution. And coincidentally, while we were, the day we were going out there to look at one of these UTVs, I was contacted by a community member, Kay Spencer. Kay was wanting to partner with the police department on a special project, monetarily support that project. So I spoke with her about the UTV project. She was very interested and excited about that opportunity. Kay then spoke about her motivation of why she wanted to partner with the police department. Her late husband, Jack Spencer, was killed in the line of duty in the state of Nevada when he worked for the state or the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs out there. He was killed in the line of duty in a vehicle crash. Before that, Jack was actually had a career with the Pittsburgh Police Department for 9 years, and from the late 60s to the late 70s. From 75 to 78, he was actually the chief of police here in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And then she went on to say that Kay actually had that blue flame as well and the servant attitude, and she was a member of the police reserve program that we had in the early 1970s as well. So Jack and Kay had a son. His name was Creighton. And he followed his father's footsteps and worked for the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs. And he was tragically killed in a car crash as well in the line of duty. So these are some of the motivating factors of why Kay and the family wanted to donate towards a project. So ultimately, the family and Kay have donated $30,000 towards the purchase of a UTV for the police department. So tonight we are seeking commission approval specifically for a 2025 Polaris North Star Crew Ultimate UTV from J. Hatfield Motorsports in Frontenac. As indicated, utilizing the $30,000 donation, and then the remainder balance of a little over $6,100 would come from the police department's drug asset forfeiture account. Yes, sir.
Does this include a trailer to move this around?
This does not. No.
Does not?
No. Any
How are you
additional?
gonna get it from place to place?
Anywhere we need to take it in Pittsburgh, we can drive it.
You can drive it?
And then we have a trailer available through Public Works that we've already talked to
Okay,
them about
okay.
if we needed to be able to take it outside the city.
So this is just concluding here. Any questions you may have, please ask. This is a special purpose equipment purchase request, and we are requesting the commission waive the standard bid process for this particular purchase. And we can answer any questions, any further questions you may have about this project.
Is this something they have in stock, or do
They
you have
do.
to special order
They
to
do.
have it?
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the
Thank you.
Spencer family also.
Yes.
Very
Job,
generous.
guys.
Very nice.
Moving on to non-agenda reports and requests, I believe we have one from Matt.
I do. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Before the meeting, I presented, everyone should have received a packet tonight. So back in October, through part of the American Rescue Funds, we dedicated about $250,000 to buy a track loader. We wrote an RFP before Christmas and put it out on the street. We advertised to a handful, we put a public notice, but we also directly, Fabic, Foley, Victorville, Phillips, Perry Tractor, half a dozen or more vendors. We were only able to secure one. We listed a max price of $250 delivered equipment, asked for some warranty, some additional equipment. Tonight, we're asking for award to, I can't remember my cat dealer, sorry, Foley. I get them confused, it's Fabic and Joplin. Sorry, Foley Cat. to award a 963 track loader. We've reviewed, I would have had it on the agenda, but we were clarifying some information and making sure we got it correct. They would honor their bid, but they do have another prospect looking at the loader, so I asked Darren if we could come tonight to ask for award. It does include an additional 3-year, 1,500-hour powertrain warranty. As we reviewed this equipment, even though we got one bid, if you look at Machine Trader, some Iron Horse, some different outlet sites where you could buy a piece of equipment like this, you'll find some that may be slightly newer, and they either they're out of our budget, or if they get into our budget, they've got 10,000 hours on them. So, or they're just really worn out at this point. So we feel pretty confident. We went back through, Lanny double-checked on some stuff. This is a delivered machine, and we're going to go ahead and ask to add the auxiliary hydraulics so that we can run a clamshell bucket on the front of that. We are going to look for that separate of this bid. So tonight, we're asking for award of the machine along with the auxiliary hydraulics to be installed in the amount of $223,069.
Matt,
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
This is a 8-year-old machine,
Mhm.
a 9-year-old machine. It has 4,000 plus hours on it. I don't know anything about machines, so first, would you tell me what a new one would cost? And is this a lot of hours?
It is, these machines will go 8 to 10,000 hours. A brand new, this is a $500,000 machine. So, that's kind of where we're at on that. So,
Is this a diesel?
yes, yeah.
Matt, on the warranty, do you anticipate the 36 months running out before you get to the 1,500 hours, probably?
Yeah, I imagine we'll probably be out of time before we,
Do you have any estimate on, a guess on what you'll use it hour-wise? Probably not, you won't use it every day.
we'll
Is it
probably
an everyday
be,
machine?
I say out of the gate, we've got some places that we're really gonna go, and hit, things that we'll do with the machine are pushing at 23 dump. Currently, we ran out of dozer for that. We can now use this machine, or probably utilize there during the winter. It gives us a backup to load sand and salt trucks. We're gonna try and do some street stripping with that machine, as well as tree demo and some other demo type properties. This machine's too big for us when we have to move around town. We'll actually contract a hauler. We've got some pretty cheap, we got lots of people that have low boys that can help move it for us, so we don't have to have that extra piece of equipment to move it for us. It's pretty
said-
simple and it's pretty strategic.
You said a new one would be about $500,000.
Mhm.
So if we bought a new one and extended the payments over time, could we afford a new one?
Buying a new one, we won't utilize, as Stu asked, we won't use that machine 2,080 hours a year. We're probably talking about using that machine possibly 400 to 450. While it'll be a machine that we'll need to utilize for different things, it still will not be a full-time, it'd be a pretty big swallow on spending $500,000, just because we have so many other needs to
So-
buy for equipment.
So your extended warranty is gonna balance out pretty close. You'll
Yep.
have it,
Yeah.
1,500 hours or 36 months,
Yeah.
either one is gonna.
Yep, and Foley Cat's out of Chanute. This machine's sitting at one of their other dealers, that's actually working that, but we worked with them to write the spec for this machine, and really, they understand what our needs are. We had a good discussion with them prior to writing the RFP. They kinda helped us in that regard, but whether we spec'd it around a 963 Cat, it could've been a John Deere. It wouldn't have mattered, but, this is what we got.
In reality, in 3 years, we might have some pretty good trade material too.
And also,
By the time
yeah.
by the time the warranty drops off, you
Yeah,
might.
and if we're really using that, I might come back and say, hey, we've utilized this piece of equipment, we need a new one, but
That
at the moment, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with what we have.
That $500,000 becomes a whole lot more.
We have
affordable.
never had a piece of equipment that even compares to this, so we're kind of, we're at staff meeting, everybody's thinking about things they could do. But I think it'll be, how many buildings do we contract to demo? Does it have a useful purpose there? We're now in the trash business. So there's a lot of things that we don't really know. I think it seems paying half of the cost of a new one, that's halfway through its useful life, kind of feels like like Matt said, the conservative way to see, okay, and obviously if it gets down to where we're the kind of city that needs one of these, yes, we have enough money to buy a new one and amortize it over enough years that it would be almost the same. But right now, You know, we know we have some immediate needs and it looked like a good opportunity, but I think there's a lot of businesses we could get into that would really make the case for having one.
And you said, I don't know if you did or not, mention this would be paid for out of the ARPA funds.
Yes.
And my next question is, I envision something that looks like a bulldozer. Would it have a blade, so like you said, you could use it to push material that's at the
You
dump
can't,
site?
I mean, so it's got, I mean, it's just like the picture you see in the, in your packet. So it's literally looks like, I mean, I've used one in the past to push like a bulldozer. I mean, you get a little material on the
Put a
bucket.
blade on the front of that?
No,
A
no, you
bucket?
don't put a blade. What
Bucket?
we would do is we change out, I mean, you can do quick coupler and some stuff like that, but most of the time they run with a bucket or a clamshell, but you
So
can
you can put a
interchange.
bucket on it?
Uh-huh, yeah,
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 you
sorry,
can do
this one
that.
has forks on it, but yes, we will search out, you can do a fixed bucket, or we will pursue a clamshell so that it'll open just like some of our backhoe buckets and we can grab material and clomp and chomp. Yep,
Well, right now, don't you have to rent or lease or contract with somebody with a piece of equipment at that site to do what you need to do?
yes, yep.
You would have to buy the bucket and the grappler if you needed it?
I still need to buy a clamshell bucket, yes.
That's not the 12,000, the additional 12,000.
That is
to
to
the
plumb the hydraulics in to run a clamshell bucket, yeah.
So what's that?
They had some other options on there for a quick coupler bucket, and we are not gonna pursue that option. We're gonna leave it as straight bend. And basically, that's just so you can take the bucket on and off as a thumb control hydraulic, and it's not worth the money. We can drive pins.
You're not worried about being able to find what you want out there? I mean, is there plenty of selection?
No, we can get one.
So that bucket, the cost and it'd probably be used just like this?
Mm-hmm, yeah, yeah.
You can move snow?
You're darn right.
This is just one, we just need one motion, one vote for both items, right?
Yeah.
So moved.
I second it.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Any
Thanks, Matt, good
other,
job. Anything from staff? That's it for staff.
any non-agenda items? Cheryl?
No.
You good?
Yeah.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.